I gotta turn it around the other way.
Calling the Caddo Parish Commission work session to order. Roll call, please.
Dominic,
Present.
Johnson,
Present.
Williams, Lynn,
Present.
Bowman, Cawthorn, Gage
Present.
Watts, Escaday,
Here.
Thibodeau, Cox,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
Epperson. We have a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Cox, would you lead us in invocation, and Commissioner Cawthorn, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance? Please stand.
Everyone, please bow your heads. Our Heavenly Father, we're gathered here today. Watch over this meeting as we do the government's business. Please watch over our men and women of the military as they serve worldwide. In sweet Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
You ready? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Bowman out there somewhere.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, you got it. No.
Okay, are there any agenda additions? I have none. Next item.
Next, we have citizen comments.
Citizens who wish to address the commission must fill out a comment card and forward to myself or the clerk of the commission. Comments by any citizen will be limited to 3 minutes. We have a pretty good stack of comments, and the issue is basically on the ordinance of the shooting, the gun, firearms, and we're gonna have a committee meeting right after this. So I would request, if you don't mind, that we'll leave these comments until that particular time, because it's not on the agenda of the work session. And if anyone objects to that, then that's fine, because you do have a right to come in and say your comments. But it is a part of the next meeting that we'll have right after this. So if you would defer, I would appreciate that. Anybody object to that?
How long is the meeting gonna last?
It won't last long, I guarantee you. This one won't last long. Okay. We do have
I got 4 year out
Senator Barrow Peacock that would like to address the commission and the group here. And we also have State Representative Jim Morris in the audience. Jim, if you...
Perfect here.
Okay, bro, I didn't see you.
Thank you, President Johnson and members of the commission. I appreciate you letting me speak. I've got an obligation to second graders who are playing flag football, and believe it or not, I'm their football coach. But I've had a good working relationship with the Parish Commission. In fact, the Jimmy Davis Bridge would not be rehabbed without this commission's support. And it's us working together that we do a better job for the citizens of Caddo Parish and all of Louisiana. So I want to continue a good working relationship. I appreciate your service to the citizens of Caddo Parish. I'm here today because of the ordinance, the gun ordinance, and I wanted to just speak for a moment about it, because I passed a bill this past session, Act number 259, which was signed by the governor, which is current state law. I did this ordinance, this act, based on a phone call that I received back in January when a constituent, who happens to be a cousin, called and said, we just got stopped by a deputy sheriff for shooting a firearm on our property. And this is when the ordinance came to light. I thought that maybe this would change in the commission, and when things weren't really happening, I introduced legislation. Understanding your intent, no one should be firing a firearm in a residential subdivision. Completely agree. But someone's rights on their property to exercise their Second Amendment rights, they need to be preserved in our country. And that's why I did this legislation, which is now state law. This bill went through 2 committees, one on the Senate side and one on the House side. It was voted on by the senators on the Senate side, except for 2 from New Orleans, and it passed unanimously on the House side. And on the House of Representatives side, I can't carry a bill in the House. Representative Harrison carried this, so this was something that was supported by all the representatives and the vast majority of the state senators. If someone is out there doing something wrong, shooting a firearm, being negligent, being reckless. Current state law says that they can be charged with criminal negligence. There's already laws that are out there in our state that if someone is shooting a gun up in the air or being reckless or putting a red dot into someone's house, call 911, call your law enforcement, let them prosecute them. Let the current laws work versus doing more laws on the books. So I appreciate your service. I appreciate you letting me speak beforehand, and please say good words for my flag football team. We're 1-1.
All right. We have another card on another subject, Rob Broussard. What's your name and address, please?
Rob Broussard, 451 Sandifer, Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm here representing the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association, and I'd like to invite all you hunters to our Neighborhood Association meeting, which is on the fourth Tuesday of every month. Please come. We discuss hot topics like this, so we invite you to come and share your concerns with our neighborhood group. Mr. Johnson, commission members, last week I mentioned some of the poverty rate in the neighborhood schools at Broadmoor. I have a sheet here that I'll be glad to pass around to y'all if you want to see those numbers that was obtained from the Caddo Parish school system, where I mentioned that the different amount of kids at each one of our schools that fall in that free and reduced lunch. Once again, Arthur Circle, 70% of those kids in free and reduced lunch. Broadmoor Middle, 88.74%. AC Steer, 43%. And Uri Drive, 53.19. Now, these are figures that were attained from the school system. Also, the number of students that go to those schools from outside of the Broadmoor district and the actual attendance zones are listed in this document too, and you'll find that a great number of students at each one of those schools come from outside our attendance zones. We're also in the process of pulling the school-based maps and comparing them to the commission seats that y'all represent, and it's really interesting numbers when you see how many districts are touched by the schools in the Broadmoor Neighborhood Association. I invite each one of you to sit down. Let's go have lunch. I'll show you those figures. We can discuss it. The need is there. The need for the tutoring service is there. We are offering to service 4 schools, not one, like many other tutoring programs do. 4 schools. And every dollar spent in these tutoring programs is going to go to students that fall in that free and reduced lunch program. So I appreciate y'all meeting with me when you get a chance, calling me. I'm open 24/7 to discuss this issue with you, and I do thank you for your help in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners.
Next item.
We have no visitors. Move to reports, administration report.
Dr. Wilson.
Yes, sir. We just have one quick update on the adjudicated property procedure change. Mr. Jimmy Whittington, we're going to make you aware, Commissioners, we're going to change the process slightly.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Commissioners, good afternoon. I just wanted to update you on a possible expansion. I'll be very brief. As you know, Archon Information Systems, a company that has been handling the sheriff's online tax sale for years now, we've engaged them several years ago about trying to sell some of our adjudicated property. We were very limited in what we could ask them to put out on the internet, and the main reason being that they didn't have an agreement with the city of Shreveport. And you know, we've got 9,800 pieces of adjudicated property in the parish, but the vast majority of those within the city of Shreveport, and they're also adjudicated to the city of Shreveport. But now it does look like the city has been having conversations with them, and will be leaning towards entering into a contract with them to where we can expand what we're exposing out on the internet to a lot of people. The one thing, the good news about this, which is brand new, on all of the property that Archon sells through their website, which is civicsource.com. I'd encourage you to go look around on there. They're selling adjudicated property all throughout the state. The beauty of it is if you buy it through them, they do everything for you. They do all the notifications. They do everything. And ultimately, when you buy that piece of property, you get a title insurance policy, which is, it doesn't matter to Mrs. Smith who just wants the vacant lot next door for her vegetable garden, but for an investor that is very, very important that they have a merchantable title. They can take it to the bank, use it as collateral, and things of that nature. And everything that they sell through their website will be insurable. They will be issuing a title insurance policy on it. So this is something that's going to be coming down in the near future. We will keep you apprised. That even what we do on their website or over the internet is not going to shut down what we do here internally. It won't affect it at all. If somebody walks in our door interested in a piece of property, we'll be able to accommodate them. It's just going to give us a chance to expose these properties to a lot more potential customers, investors, and return a substantial number of them back to the tax rolls. Any questions?
Commissioner Dominic.
Yeah, how much is this gonna cost the people? Do we know?
There's going to be an estimated
And
cost.
are we gonna get to vote on this? Are we gonna get to vote on this procedure?
That I don't know. That would be legal.
Yeah. We're currently already providing the same procedure, is expanding it.
Yeah, I just got some issues with all this. I'd be glad to talk to you about some other time.
Yeah, there will be a cost, and but they'll give you an estimated cost before you do anything, and which will be pretty accurate as to what the costs are going to be.
Commissioner Escudé.
Basically, I have the same question. There's going to be a fee involved in this. Who's going to pay? The end user?
Yeah, the end user does not cost us
Parish.
one
It's not going to
thing.
cost the parish or the taxpayers any money.
Not 1 cent.
Sheriff uses this to collect taxes, and the tax people who owe those taxes also pay all the costs and administrative fees, and also the net tax that is owed is what is received. That's how this is going to work?
Not the net tax, because you remember
I understand, but I'm talking about, normally, yes, whatever the adjudicated criteria is, whatever that number is that this property can be redeemed, that's the number I'm talking about, but that number stays with the parish.
That's correct.
That's correct. So
That's
there will
correct.
be fees added to the purchasers of these properties in and above the parish and the city's investment.
That's correct.
Well, okay, thank you.
Commissioner Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, will the same measures be in place to redeem for the owner to redeem their property? Or
Yes.
will that change?
No. That'll remain exactly the same.
So no hidden fee will be passed on to the redeemer if they chose to redeem their property within those 3 years?
No. None of these costs will even, because we can't sell it until it's 3 years old, and Archon actually does not even want to attempt to sell any unless it's 5 years old. But they do all the notifications and whatnot beforehand, before it even goes to sale, but an owner's right to redeem will not be affected at all.
You said their policy or procedure is 5 years, or is it 3?
They because of the because they're taking a risk on writing the title insurance, they feel a little better if it's over 5 years instead of just 3 years.
Thank you.
That's it?
Anybody else?
That's it? Anything else, Dr. Wilson?
That's my report for today, sir.
Thank you. Next item?
Next, we move to communiques and committee reports. The commission will sit as a tax board of review on Thursday, and the commission will also sit as alcohol beverage committee on Thursday.
All right. See no other communiques. Next item?
Next, we have president's report.
I defer mine to Thursday. Next item?
We have no old business. We move to new business. Authorized introduction of ordinance number 5518 to close and abandon the dedication of a portion of Holly Ridge Drive in West Ridge Subdivision Unit Number 1.
So,
Move to Thursday.
Second.
Moved by Commissioner Escudé, second by Commissioner Williams. Commissioner Thibodeau.
Globo, the remaining part of the agenda to Thursday.
Second.
Been moved to englobo the remaining part of the work session agenda to Thursday, second by Commissioner Lynn. As the maker of the motion, want to say anything? Okay, I do. I think it's Erica. Did the sewer board give you information about this grant, or this bond issue?
No, sir, Commissioner, they're just wanting to, from my last conversation with them, I believe, but I don't have anything in writing, they're just making updates to the system. But none of the sewer district, water district can issue debt without approval from the commission.
Okay, but I want to know is, by doing this, is it gonna go up, the price of the sewer, the residents in that area?
Fees.
The fees gonna go up?
I would have to consult with them, but I can't answer.
That's why we took it off the agenda last time, because we didn't have that answer.
Well, I had the answer at that time, and was not aware it's gonna be back on the agenda today. But I can consult with them, in order to raise their fees. Debt in itself should not be raising the fees, but I would have to have more conversation with them, and I can have that, Dr. Wilson have that for Thursday.
You have that done by Thursday for sure?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. See no one else who wishes to speak, let's vote. Mr. Clark, that passes 12-0 to end global for the rest of the work session.
Next, we have consent agenda.
Move to adjourn.
We'll take a 5-minute break for us to move around to everything, and we'll have this second meeting right in here.
Tell you to be quick.
Let's roll. Let's get it on. Let's get this thing moving.
You're gonna be like that.